Nebraska? What the fuck?
Welcome back, guys, to the James Names Show. We're going to cover the Week 12 matchups and kind of going over predictions, maybe a couple other things sprinkled in a little bit. But yeah, we're going to kick it off with kind of going over the games because as much as we feasted on food, we also feasted on watching football. And I actually got to watch most of the games this time and not regulating myself to highlights, which sucks. But
Yeah.
okay. All right. So Green Bay and Detroit. Very disappointing. I thought the Lions were going to win, but actually the universe was actually against the Lions because every time there is a waxing gibbous phase on the moon on Thanksgiving, the Lions always lose. They have a 13-game losing streak.
0-13.
0-13. And that's since the merger. Nothing too crazy statistic-wise, besides, I would say, 5 sacks for the Lions. But there were a bunch of miscues on the Lions' part. Matt LaFleur was being stopped by a security guard on the way into halftime, but I don't know the reason for that. So that was the only bigger news from during the game. But the halftime show, Jack Harlow. That's something you see on the marching band, on the field for the marching band, and I've seen similar setups to like that. I'm assuming all that budget went into Dolly Parton's halftime show for the Cowboys. At least that's where I think the money went, but yeah, very, very underwhelming, and it was not something I wanted to watch. So yeah, any other things?
That's about all I have for that game. There wasn't. It was just, like I said last week, a loss here is just going to create concerns for the Lions, and I think there are concerns, but I think they can still fix it. Yeah, just like you said, disappointing, but there's not much else to comment on there. Now the Cowboys game. Cowboys beat Commanders 45-10. Not surprising, continuing on that trend of beating bad offenses pretty bad. Obviously, if you saw Deron Bland pick 6, he has officially broken the record, and he is now at 5 on the season, and he holds that all by himself.
Yep. Good on him. Commanders, they fired their DC Jack Del Rio. Yeah, he was fired after the loss.
I didn't see that.
He was fired. So we'll see who goes in and fills that position. On the Cowboys side, the Bland pick 6. It wasn't even it's like halfway through the fourth quarter. Prescott and I think a couple other people were celebrating Thanksgiving a little early when they were eating turkey on the sideline. I will say this, though, agreeing with the stance of beating bad offenses really well. The Cowboys have yet to beat a 500 or over 500 team. And when they have played them, they've lost.
Yeah.
They're the Dolphins and the Cowboys game that's coming up soon. It's literally, all right, who's going to somehow win this game because they can't play against really good teams, even though they are good teams, but they're not. But they are. Like, they're really good, but they're not. I don't know how to explain it. They're good teams, but they're also not good teams. I don't know. They just don't show up when they need to. But
yeah, I still stand by my stance, which is there's the stat that they haven't beaten the team over 500, and yeah, but they also haven't played a lot of teams over 500.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's clear though is like their defense dismantles bad offenses, and that wins them games, regardless of what's going on
Oh, the offense.
on the offensive side. Their defense wins them games, and by a landslide. But only if the offense is bad. If the offense is good, they kind of just struggle, which is what we've seen in games against 49ers and Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals was weird.
Cardinals was just a weird game. I don't know what was going on there.
But yeah, that's that. I didn't see much else from that. 49ers Seahawks. I don't really. There's concerns for Seahawks fans, but
because the schedule from the 49ers on is just terrifying, or at least for Seahawks fans, because they're playing really, really good teams. And I don't know if they have an answer for that. And Smith has not been as good as he has been. So I don't know if he's going to improve on his mistakes or not. So we'll see. I guess 6 sacks. Bosa had 2. CMC had battle scars during the game. Did you see that? Did you see the pictures? I think it's like his girlfriend or wife was like showing like all these marks and everything on his back and like his arm and everything. He was like torn up from the game. Yeah, I was. Well, I mean, it's not big news, but it's just really interesting because it's like how often does that happen? Especially for running backs.
I don't know, but that you bring that up does actually remind me of something that is actually from the next game, which was the Dolphins with Tua and his chunk of skin or whatever.
I was like,
missing.
is that muscle? I can't tell.
It didn't look right. I was like,
yeah, that was a deep cut scar, whatever you want to call it.
There was so little blood. I was like, that just doesn't.
I can't tell what that is.
I don't know. I want to see some other pictures of that
up close.
That part, just not that one picture, because it's like it looks really weird. But yeah, Dolphins beat up on the Jets. Can't really say I'm surprised. The Jets didn't run the ball and decided to throw with Tim Boyle, which was
Hall had 25 yards, and he was the lead rusher.
Wasn't he? Didn't he have 9 carries?
Something like that. There wasn't a lot.
He didn't have more than 10, which was.
It's just I couldn't watch that game, both literally and I didn't want to watch it because the Jets' offense is very uninspiring. I will say there is a couple news from that besides the Tua thing. Jalen Phillips suffered an Achilles injury, so he's out. But Jason Pierre-Paul is signing with the Dolphins.
I did.
So there's a minus and a plus. And then apparently, I think it was on a broadcast. I don't remember which one. One of the reporters was talking about how McDaniel stole a girl from one of the players a while back and married her 4 years later and everything. It's an interesting story if you can go look at that. But I didn't know that happened. Apparently, McDaniel is very good at stealing girls from other people. I don't know. I'd say from the Jets side, Holland's 99-yard pick cost TLC $1 million because they offered 84 98-inch TVs if there was a 98-yard plus touchdown. And yeah, well, so sucks to suck TLC. And then let's see here. Then there was the Hail Mary. I've seen people comment that. I don't remember exactly the situation to cause that play, but it was not something you wanted to watch because there was no effort in that play.
Oh boy! Speaking of no effort, I don't know if you saw anything from the Steelers-Bengals game, but there's a clip that is going around of Deontay Johnson on a run play where he does not block. Jalen Warren fumbles the ball in his direction, and he just goes, and he just like it is. I've seen it dubbed the lowest effort play by a player, and I'm like, I've seen some low effort plays.
You can't say if it was low effort. There was no effort. I can't tell if he looked at the ball and then was just like, oh well.
I don't think he even looked. I think he just was like,
oh well. I thought it was kind of funny.
It was.
Oh God.
But regardless, Steelers managed to pull out a win over the Bengals. Joe Burrow-less Bengals.
Joe Burrow-less, yeah.
And
they put up a good game though, from what I've seen. Or at least they tried to. I mean, you can only do so much.
I mean, important or not really interesting, not really surprising, I would at least say. Steelers put up their first game over 400 yards, and the first game they outgained their opponent.
Because Matt Canada wasn't there.
Their first game without him. So.
I forgot that Deontay Johnson also dropped a very easy touchdown pass.
Was that the play before?
I can't remember. I don't know what the sequence was because I know he dropped a touchdown pass. He walked like off the field basically during that live fumble. And then he also ran backwards after a catch. I don't know if you saw that. Deontay Johnson, I don't know what's going on, but I think you need to put up the pads if you're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But going on to the Colts and Bucks, I had the Colts winning, and I wasn't surprised. Nothing too much from that game other than 6 sacks, which is really good. Did you see the video of the Colts mascot falling after a missed field goal? It was a missed field goal. Yeah, he just kind of fell down and just gave up. And then the other mascot next to him also did the same thing. That was basically the highlight from that game, I think. There wasn't really highlight, meaning that there wasn't anything interesting happening during that game. I just thought it was a very decent contest.
It was not, for it being 27-20, it wasn't super interesting of a game.
No.
One piece of news that came out of that, Jonathan Taylor will be getting thumb surgery and will be out they said 2 to 3 weeks max. He missed 4 games at the beginning of the season, and in 7 games boasted 100 carries for 414 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, no fumbles, 16 receptions, 137 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. So it looks like he's starting to get back to form.
A little bit, yeah.
He's going to be out next couple of games.
Was that today or something like that?
That it was announced?
Yeah.
I know. I saw it yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
I didn't see that. That's news to me.
Yeah.
But, quick recovery for him, hopefully. But
yeah, they were optimistic on that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Giants and Patriots.
Can't say I'm surprised. Because that is what I did pick the Giants to win.
Yeah.
Just not a good game.
I did not want to watch that game because I knew it was bad offense against bad offense. Maybe mediocre defenses.
I think Giants are getting better on defense.
Slightly better, I feel like. They got 3 interceptions, though. 3 different players. But that's about it. I mean, it was such a boring game, too. 3 picks on the Pats side. Although 6 sacks for the Patriots. I didn't see that. But,
yeah, but that's not surprising.
Yeah.
What other games?
And then, I got some more things about that. Dable had some tensions with like a offensive coach or whatever it was, offensive coordinator. Apparently there was some misleading information saying that there were tensions between the two, but then Dable responded with like the biggest argument that they've had was over who got the last slice of pizza. That's literally it. And then Rex Ryan actually went on the air and talked about how Belichick was carried, basically saying that Tom Brady is the reason why you won those Super Bowls, and I agree. And then now there's an NFL insider predicting that 7 to 10 head coaches are being fired sometime this year, like just in total, which is honestly believable.
I did want to cover that. That was something I wanted to talk about later, but I want to just power through these recaps. There's Saints Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Saints offense has returned back to their shitty form, and the only thing I can attribute is it seems like the Saints offense doesn't do anything when they don't give Taysom Hill the ball.
Yeah, Taysom Hill was everywhere for a little bit.
Yeah, and then they
stopped using him.
And then
like
the Falcons
every other time.
Falcons were like, hey, we should give the ball to Bijan.
And they actually did.
Yeah, and they actually, scored a touchdown.
I keep saying that I don't believe in Carr. I actually have somebody who told me that, like, why don't you believe in Carr? And I said, watch this game. And there's the reason. It's just watching the beginning. Yeah, at least like the first half. It wasn't very good football. The second half got better, but it wasn't very great football play on both sides. No touchdowns on the Saints. Although I thought it was funny that Winston was rapping Ludacris songs to a car during the halftime show. Did you see that? I thought it was kind of funny. But other than that, that's basically it. Titans and Panthers, 4 sacks for the Titans. Frank Reich got fired after 11 games.
Back-to-back seasons.
Back-to-back seasons. But now there's a rumor or interest that Greg Olsen might take the head coaching job at Carolina, which is kind of interesting. I kind of hope that happens, but also I don't know. I don't know if I want him to go there, mostly because of the current owner situation.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw Panthers owner David Tepper apparently came out and said he stands by Bryce Young. And
Even
I was
though
like,
allegedly he was trying to get Stroud.
No, he was the one who wanted Young. Wasn't it? I thought Frank Reich was the one who wanted Stroud.
Maybe that's who it was. Okay.
Which was why I was
somebody wanted Stroud, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, which is why I was like, wow, really? You stand by Bryce Young when you were the one who stepped in over your GM and your coach to be like, hey, this is who we're taking. It's like, you have those guys for a reason. You have a GM and a head coach for a reason. Why are you
overriding decisions? Don't know.
I think there's a lot of issues in Carolina, and I think Tepper is part of them. But I just thought that was funny.
Jaguars and Texans. I didn't watch the entire game, but I definitely watched like the last quarter and a half. That was some good football. Stroud was taking them down that last drive to try and like tie the game and send it to overtime. It's unfortunate that it didn't go into overtime, but that was, I think it was Lawrence's second best performance in the NFL. And Stroud did a very great job that day. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rush, which is crazy. 4 sacks. Allen had 2.5 of them on the Jaguars, which is crazy. It was a good game all around. I wish it could continue, but it's just unfortunate that he couldn't make that kick. He was close, though.
Well, it's actually, he missed 2 on the day, Matt Amendola, and there were two missed game-tying field goals, and that was in the New England game. Chad Ryland missed a 35-yarder, and Houston's Matt Amendola missed a 58-yarder, and he missed another one earlier in the game. I don't know much about that one, but Matt Amendola got released.
He did?
He lost his job because he wasn't playing well, which is funny because of. I'll come back to it later, but when it comes to game tying field goals, that's funny comparing them. But bummer for him, but good game out of Jags and Texans.
Yeah.
Moving on, we got Browns Broncos.
I was
The
disappointed.
moment Dorian Thompson-Robinson got knocked out of the game, Broncos kind of had that one, but it just goes to show that, like, Browns still have concerns on offense.
Yeah.
Their defense can't really carry them.
No.
Their defense is really good, but
Yeah,
they
it's just
can't.
not enough to.
They don't have a defense that will win you a game on its own,
Yeah,
and their
It's-
offenses.
it just sucks. But good thing that the Broncos are turning things around.
Yeah, they're on a
Wilson's cooking.
5-game win streak now.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see where this goes, but there are also other barriers in their way as well.
There's a lot
So.
of factors.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, DTR during the game, he was bleeding from the mouth. Did you see that? I think he got hit by somebody. Yeah, he got hit by Browning. I think it was to the helmet or something like that, and he was bleeding from the mouth when he was on the sidelines. And then I saw pictures of Garrett in an arm sling. Did you see that? Well, apparently he felt something pop in his shoulder, but he did say that I'm not going to come out unless it's falling off.
I'll play with one arm, it's
So
fine.
I think he's fine, but I think he went to go get that checked out. I think it was Monday, but I don't know any updates from that. But I think he's fine. I hope so. Eagles and Bills. I didn't get to watch that entire game, but I did. Like I said, I got to watch the good parts. I got to watch that ending for sure. Great game all around. Allen cannot win in overtime. He's 0-6,
He is
Which
0-6.
especially since they changed the rules to benefit him.
Yeah, but that only applies to playoffs.
Oh, that's true though. Never mind then.
Yeah,
But still, he's 0-6 in overtime.
This was the other part of that stat that I thought was really funny is there were actually 3 game-tying field goal attempts, and the other 2, the aforementioned ones, were misses, and who was home? The Texans were home, so indoor it was 58 yards, but it was indoor, and then 35-yarder, both missed. And then you have Jake Elliott, who went and kicked a 59-yard game-tying field goal.
Oh my gosh, that was
in
such a beauty.
pouring rain. And I was like,
I think he's the best kicker this year.
I have my opinions.
I know you do, but I'm saying that as of this year, he's the best one. But that does not mean that Tucker's not good at either. I'm just saying that this year, Elliott specifically has made it look like he's the best kicker.
He's
but
done pretty well.
I'm impressed.
It was it was a good game. A lot of complaints about penalties.
Scott Hansen stayed to cover the Bills-Eagles game. Did you see that? Because apparently the building was allegedly on fire because like the alarms went off and everything. He was still there recording. He was still broadcasting. And everyone's like, someone go save him. He's going to burn. But he is fine. I think it was like a false alarm. But guts to him staying for that long. And then during the game, Bills player, it was Lawson.
Shaq Lawson, yeah.
Shaq Lawson. He pushed an Eagles fan, allegedly, after the loss and will be looked at. That was news from a while ago, but I don't know if he actually got fined or if it was solid enough proof to actually fine him. I don't know. I haven't seen that yet, but we'll see.
And just very short recaps because there was not much to talk about in these games. Rams beat Cardinals 37-14.
That's about it.
Not much there. And then Chiefs beat Raiders 31-17. Only interesting thing there was Raiders getting off to a 14-0 start. And then
I had hope for like maybe 10 minutes of that football game for the Raiders, and then nope. The only thing, 3 things for the Raiders side. Roderick Teamer, the safety, He got arrested for allegedly DUI, released but inactive. Marcus Peters got released.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was.
And
good.
now, what?
I thought he was doing well.
I
That
don't know.
could be
He
like
got
a-
released, so I don't think that's a good thing.
It could be a management or like a head
Yeah,
coach
it might
change
be.
or whatever.
And then John Gruden is now a wild card candidate for Indiana's head coaching job.
Indiana?
Indiana, or at least that's what the article said.
Oh, like a University of
The
Indiana.
University of
Okay,
Indiana.
because I was like, Indianapolis? They're
no,
getting on you.
no. This is going to college, but
Yeah,
Indiana University.
that would be
It'd be interesting.
interesting. Would be surprised with his reputation, but there's that. And then did you have anything else on that game?
I was gonna go to Ravens and Chargers.
Okay.
Ravens and Chargers. The Ravens just keep proving that they're a very good team, at least to me. I did laugh seeing that Lamar Jackson was roasting Zay Flowers on his celebrations.
I don't think he was roasting it. I think it was watching that clip. I think he was just in disbelief. He was like, "Man, what?"
Well, from what it looked like, a lot of people were making out to be like he was roasting the heck out of him because of like, wow, you threw flowers like a
It's a
Like a
bouquet.
flower-
It's
yeah,
the
bouquet.
toss. I
Or like
I liked
wedding.
it. I think it was.
that thing was creative. I just think Jackson was I don't know. I didn't know if he wasn't buying it or if he was just like make a better celebration. But he had 2 touchdowns on the day, I think. So
Yeah,
Zay Flowers.
the freaking rushing touchdown. I was like, oh, we're up 13-10. We just have to run the ball. Nice. And then I looked down. I'm like, oh, we scored.
We ran the ball.
Zay Flowers ran for like, what was it? Like a
37.
30-yard,
Or no, not 37.
35.
35, yeah.
I think. And I was just
That's
like, oh, okay, Zay Flowers, you do that. But
He also hit the Ronaldo celebration for a second one.
he did.
He did.
I was.
And then now Lamar Jackson became the fastest player to hit 5,000 rushing yards in NFL history in 82 games
Fastest quarterback, right?
as a quarterback. Yeah.
As a quarterback. I was like,
No. Just hold on. As a quarterback, it was like statistics comparing to to Michael Vick and everything. So,
yeah.
which is crazy. So good on him.
Also, Ravens forced 4 turnovers, which was,
Yeah.
what was it? 3 fumbles and an interception. So,
Chargers are falling apart. Staley needs to be fired. I've been saying this for years.
then there's the freaking debacle that was the Vikings and Bears game.
I didn't watch that game,
I
but
did.
I saw the drive that they were trying to come back into that game. I was like, oh boy, Dobbs is not that guy. 4 interceptions. Oops.
It was okay, but like one of them was bad. 2 of them were off,
Off other
Tips,
people.
and one
was like directly into somebody.
it was he was
Wasn't it?
trying to throw it while getting tackled, and it got tipped. It got tipped up by a defender, and they caught it. But it was like it shouldn't have thrown it. But
Vikings also missed an opportunity to challenge what looked like a catch from Jordan Addison. I think it was like at the 20-something yard line in Chicago's territory, where it was ruled an incompletion, but for some reason they didn't challenge it because Addison looked like he kept the ball off the ground. So the
I thought-
Vikings could have scored there, but
I thought that one was ruled complete, and the Bears challenged it. I thought was what because the Bears challenged something and lost because they only had 2 timeouts going.
that might have been later in the game. I'm not entirely sure. I just saw the clip and I'm like, huh, Addison caught that ball, or at least I thought he did. Surprised the Vikings didn't challenge and got that back. But other than that, the craziest thing that happened in that game was defensive back Kyler, is it Gordon? Yeah. He got flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct even though his helmet broke on the field. He was like, hey, ref, my helmet's broken. Nah, you get penalized. That was kind of unfair on his part, but yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Very good defense. I think Bears defense has stepped up. Vikings.
I think Fields has won. I think the last 3 wins that they've won 3 come from behind victories. So like they were down and they won the game. So
Yeah, but not
congrats to them.
really pretty.
No.
The interesting things from that it was Eberflus's first win against a division opponent.
Oh my gosh, is it?
Yep. And
What? It took him that long?
well, it's been you know how they've been.
I guess that's fair.
The other thing was the interesting news coming out of Minnesota was that the Vikings activated Justin Jefferson off of IR and report, according to Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback starting next week is going to be whoever can maximize Justin Jefferson. And right now it's open between Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, and Josh Dobbs. So it's
Interesting.
completely open right now. And it's
Interesting.
whoever can just like capitalize. Basically, who will just rely on him the most.
Because Jefferson is literally your number one receiver, and he will give you points if you throw them the ball.
And you do have Addison, which is,
Yeah, he's a solid backup. It's just Jefferson has been more.
but I think that's, I think that's all the games.
That's all the
I
games.
went 9-7 last week in predictions.
I didn't do so hot compared to last week. I didn't get the Lions and Packers.
I don't think anyone did.
I know. That was disappointing. I had the Bengals and Steelers wrong. I think I had the Texans winning. I'm not entirely sure. I had the Saints winning. But, I had the Browns winning. And I had the Vikings winning. To be completely fair, the Bears winning against the Vikings was not. I didn't think that was going to happen, but here we are.
I called that one.
You did call that one.
I called a lot of upsets.
You did call a lot of upsets. I think that was the only one that actually got upset. You had like 10 minutes.
depending
You
on
had
how
10 minutes for the Raiders, and then the Chiefs were.
Yeah, depending on how you look at the Broncos one, maybe you consider that an upset. I completely missed on Raiders and Cardinals.
Yeah, that's okay though.
And Panthers. I also called them.
You had the Panthers winning that one.
Yeah,
I did not
I was
have
very
the
upset. I was.
The Panthers are
determined
gonna
for upset.
suck.
Well, they might get. I don't.
Do you think they won one game this year?
One more?
No, like one game total this
Oh,
year.
you like meaning they don't win anymore?
Do you think they
Oh.
will go 1-16?
Let's see. I think they have a chance to win a division game.
I'm gonna give them one more chance to give them one game. They might go 2-15, but I don't think they win more than 3.
Yeah, so
Or
good for the Bears.
yeah,
But other pieces of interesting news. Oh, the Browns Broncos game was a scoregami of 29-12.
was it?
I believe so. And
Oh, cool.
Sean Payton after the game apparently said that he didn't even know what scoregami was, which seems
We love
about
you, Sean.
seems about right. But
Yeah.
another thing for the Bears game. It was the Bears' first win without a touchdown in 30 years.
Without a touchdown?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Last time that happened was 1993, I believe.
93?
93, yeah.
Okay.
And then the only other just like individual news that I found interesting was it was announced earlier today that Aaron Rodgers was taken off of the IR list or whatever, and he's officially on a 21-day track to play. So he could play as soon as week 16.
What is he taking?
Steroids.
What is he taking?
I don't know. It's crazy, and I think it's gonna really affect how the Jets play because he's not gonna come back if the Jets don't start winning. But I think the Jets.
They just need a quarterback for sure, and then they need a bunch of other things. But a quarterback for the most part, you know.
Yeah, but I do want to do a short, just gauge your opinion. And you touched on it. I want to know what coaches you think get fired before the end of the season, and I have a few that have been thrown around a lot. Some I don't think, and Some I don't think will, some I do think will, some I think should, and seems like won't. Belichick is one. I don't think he gets fired before. I don't think he really gets fired, but if he does, I don't think it's going to be before the end of the year.
He might retire.
He could, although I'll get to it in a second when I get to one of the other ones. Robert Saleh.
Really?
Just because they're
No, actually, that's fair.
I don't think he'll get fired before the end of the year. I could see if he does not win out much. If he doesn't win most of the remaining games with this Aaron Rodgers news, I could see him potentially getting put up. Brandon Staley. You think how soon? When do you think he will be fired?
He's got to, let's say, if they get eliminated from the playoffs, he's fired. Or, like, playoff contention, I should say. If they lose enough games where they're not going to be able to get to the playoffs, then I think he's fired.
Okay, because that was interesting. I have no idea where this source came from. I have a friend who's a Chargers fan who apparently said that someone in the Charger, like, was a member of the Chargers organization, one of the higher ups, said that they were not planning to fire Staley before the end of the year. And I was like, okay then. But that was the interesting thing about Belichick is apparently there's a lot of talks of if Staley gets fired, Belichick gets picked up by the Chargers if he leaves
hearing
New
that.
England. And I'm like,
I've heard that rumor. I don't know if it'll happen, but it'll be interesting if that does. Because, I don't think Herbert's a bad quarterback. I don't think he's amazing, but I think he's a solid QB. It's just he hasn't had the right time or the right coach to develop him, and they've misused him for forever. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to see what other coaches could possibly be fired.
The rest of the NFC South. Dennis Allen.
Honestly, that's actually pretty fair because
Arthur Smith and Todd Bowles.
You think Dennis Allen will be fired?
Oh, if they keep
He might.
Who's their? I don't remember who their offensive coordinator is. I think their offensive coordinator gets fired first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with how they've done this year.
Well, I know that. I just didn't know who had more hands on the offense, I guess. Because, some head coaches like to dabble in offense or defense.
I have no idea how involved Allen is. I didn't like his hiring in the first place. He was not a hiring that I was really
keen on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't either. It was a very they're either going to be really mediocre or really, really bad. They're mediocre, I feel like, but
then there's
we'll see.
Todd Bowles with Tampa Bay, who's
kind of just been. He might be out the door here soon.
He's been underwhelming since who is it? Who was coaching there before him?
Why can I not remember his name? He literally. Hold on. I'm gonna punch myself if I can't remember him. Bruce Arians. It's Bruce Arians. I was like, for the love of God, I could not remember his name. Bruce Arians. Yeah, ever since Bruce Arians left, I do agree that he's not been that great. Yeah. Or like him taking over, it has not been good. So I can see that. You think Ron Rivera gets fired?
I do, but I think they'll let him stay for the year.
That's fair.
Dable, maybe.
Dable's a tricky one because it's like he has a good morale, but it's also hard to tell if it's just his players suck sometimes.
I think his players sucked last year, and he still did something.
He still did pretty well with what he had. It's just I can't tell if, to be completely fair, Danny Dimes has definitely regressed since last year.
I don't think he really was that good last year. I think
He wasn't great last year either. I'm just saying he regressed with the ability to be good, I guess.
I think they just tried to do more with him because last year he barely did anything, and that's how they won. But, yeah, Dable's there.
I don't know.
Eberflus.
Do you think Gannon gets fired?
No, absolutely not. With
Really?
how they were regarded as going to be the worst team in the NFL, and he came out and at least made that team look scrappy without Kyler Murray. I don't think there's any. I think even if they went 0-17, I don't think he loses his job.
I'm just trying to go over like coaches that are currently on a losing team right now or a mediocre team. That's what I'm going over. But yeah, I can see the argument that he could, but he's not going to, especially with what you said with how he's won with scrappy teams.
What about Eberflus?
I was just about to go to Eberflus. Yeah, Eberflus, he's got to be gone soon if he doesn't turn things around. I mean, yeah, kind of. It's mostly Fields doing the work to a degree.
Yeah. And then
in the defense.
Then there's Arthur Smith, who just irritates me how he doesn't
use your players correctly. I think everybody wants to just have a talk with Smith and be like, hey, please use your players correctly, otherwise we will riot. Because they finally used Robinson correctly, and look what he put up.
I'm waiting for them to use Kyle Pitts.
It's been how many years since he's got drafted?
2.5?
2.5-ish, maybe.
So.
Yeah. I wish Kyle Pitts was used correctly. I want him to be good. It's literally Sam Laporta. He would have been the same as Sam Laporta if he wasn't under Arthur Smith. I think that's what it would have become. At least a similar dynamic. He definitely is more. Pitts is more athletic, definitely. I feel
he's more of a receiving.
He's more receiving tight end. But I'm just saying that stats wise, I think he would have had the same as Laporta if he was drafted on a team who was using him correctly.
No, I think he would have a lot more receiving yards. But I
definitely.
think he would have. He doesn't block well. But
no.
Yeah, those
all of the coaches I can think of at the top of my head, unless we went over one earlier. But yeah, that's all I have really.
But question just being like, who do you think actually gets fired mid-season? Who do you think doesn't make it to the end of the season?
I want to say Staley, but they're not going to fire him. I feel like it's the Chargers. Chargers are going to Charger. They're never going to fire their coach for some weird reason.
I see Staley. I think Staley should. He was one that I think should. I don't think Belichick or Saleh do.
I think they last towards the end of the season. I think Staley is the most likely to be fired. But then again, it's the Chargers. Can't really count on that.
I can think of 3 that I think could get fired during the year. And that would be, again, Staley, Todd Bowles, and
Bowles.
Matt Eberflus.
I don't know with Eberflus. They might keep him for the end of the year just to run his contract or whatever.
He's just it's been iffy, but yeah, those are the ones who I think most of them, especially with like Smith and Allen, I think they give him till the end of the year. Rivera, I think if they wanted him gone, they would have gotten rid of him at the beginning of the year.
Especially what they did last year.
Yeah. So I would say between most likely, and here's the interesting thing. With those in mind, who do you think gets fired first?
I said, I want Staley gone, but I don't think he will be fired
I want
first.
Staley gone like yesterday. But
I wanted him gone years ago. But here we are.
Yeah.
So let's see here.
There's that segment.
I think Bowles might be fired first out of the 3 you mentioned, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think I lost this week. Who are they playing? Oh, I lost this weekend. I'd look at it. I'd look at it for them. But yeah, we're look ahead to start looking ahead.
Week
power
13
rankings.
Predictions or power rankings?
Power rankings. My top 5, I actually left. I think exactly the same. Eagles won against the Bills team that looked a lot better, and they played pretty well. 49ers still looking dominant, which is going to make it interesting for this week. Kept the Ravens at 3. Just because, no reason. I don't see a reason to really drop them. Chiefs at 4 still. Cowboys at 5. I think they'll remain at 5 unless they can prove that they can look that good against a good team. I moved Jags up to 6.
That's fair.
Dolphins up to 7. Just pure. I kept the Dolphins behind the Jags purely because of Jags beat a better team.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Dolphins at 7. Dolphins are looking better though. Lions at 8, and they kind of just got saved by the fact that I couldn't see putting them below the teams below them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they could have dropped to as far as 10. But just because of how this top 10 has worked out, this seems really high. But I actually have Broncos at 9.
Not too soon. I know they're good, but not now.
I gave them.
They gotta win really good games though.
That's where I was at. 2 really good games. What do you mean? They've beaten the Chiefs.
As in like they gotta win more of those, I should say. I know they did just beat the Browns.
They're on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah, they're on a win streak, but I can't tell if it's just they're riding the momentum or if they're actually like finally put the pieces together and they're now using it correctly. But their defense has stepped up, which is good. I wouldn't have them that high.
I'd say based off the past 5 weeks, they're top 10. If you're taking the whole
Arguably.
season, the whole season they don't look like it because they're 6-5. But
Yeah, I'd say in recent memory, I can see that.
it's like going off of where they are right now. I think they're potentially a top 10 team because it's also like who do you put above them? Because I even dropped the Texans below them, which is like I dropped them like one spot. I dropped them one spot,
yeah.
and I dropped the Browns out. But like the other thing with the Broncos, they were my honorable mention. So
That's fair.
I think, and just a solid win over a good Browns defense. Just kind of, I don't know. It's difficult to put anyone above them at the moment. I still refuse to put the Steelers in there because
I will never put the Steelers in there with Pickett.
yeah,
I'm sorry, just no.
Like Seahawks, I don't think deserve to be in there. None of the NFC South teams do.
Let's see here. I'd say to convince me that they're actually legitimate, beat the Texans and beat the Lions. Those are the last 2 games that are like against really good matchups. If they can win one or both those games, you got me convinced. They're definitely a playoff team.
Are those their next 2 games?
No, they play the Texans, then they play the Chargers. I think they're going to win that one. Then they play the Lions. Then they play the Chargers again on the 31st of December. But
Yeah, but like that's
hard to do.
You're asking them to basically win 7 out of 8 games, which I think is what they need to do to make the playoffs. But
I'm just saying that if they can win one of the games against the Texans or Lions, I think they definitely should be in the playoffs. Unless some other team has convinced me otherwise. But
I just have a hard time putting anyone above them. But
I don't know. It's hard.
yeah, because there's a lot of mediocre teams, and I think that they're starting to look a little bit better than mediocre. But yeah, and then 10 I have Texans who dropped a spot, losing to the Jags. But like,
yeah. But it was a good game though. It was a close match.
and then I'm giving an honorable mention this week to the Bills, who have looked like they've turned it around and just unfortunately had to play the
Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah. If they beat the Eagles, I was like, oh my gosh, the Bills are back? Question mark. Question emphasis on the question mark.
They still got a tough schedule, so they might still miss the playoffs. But
Like like I said, it's the same thing with the Broncos. The Bills need to convince me that they can win those like really highly contested games, or to convince me that I think they should be in the playoffs. If they do get into the playoffs, they're probably gonna have like a 9-8 record.
Yeah, but I think like with the Broncos right now, it's like that's not.
Also
Even-
far fetched either.
It's not even that as far fetched, but even if they get in at 9-8 with at a 7 seed, with how much they've turned it around, they're still going to be a scary team to play.
This is true.
And it's because that's all playoffs is who's riding momentum. And right now you got the Broncos riding momentum. You got the Bills, who if they can win out, they'll be in.
I don't think the Broncos will go far, but they definitely will. If they get into the playoffs, they will be definitely scary, like you said.
If they make it to the playoffs and they end up playing the Chiefs, Chiefs might get bounced early.
That might be a good matchup to watch.
Chiefs.
Not
I'm just
gonna
saying.
lie. Okay, no, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for the Broncos, mostly because of how bad they've been recently, or in recent memory. But in recent games, they've been putting up numbers. They've been winning games. I kind of want them to go back to the playoffs over other teams.
Yeah, but
we'll see.
We can go on to predictions. Starting with the Thursday night game of Seattle at Dallas. Dallas is a 9-point favorite.
A 9-point favorite?
9-point favorite. I'm going with Dallas.
I am also as well.
Seattle's
but the thing is that I don't know if this is a curse or not, but if they lose to the Seahawks, then it just emphasizes that they have not been able to beat any 500 or above team, because the Seahawks are currently 6-5. And if they are going to lose to the Seahawks, then they are now still they have lost every game against a 500 team. But I still think they're going to win. It's at home.
Yeah,
I think. I think they can win this one. If they don't, I'm going to be a little not only disappointed, but like, Dallas, I don't think you're ready. But I don't know. They're a good team, but they're not. But they are. It's hard to tell. Titans and Colts. I have the Colts winning.
Colts are 1-point favorites.
I have them winning by a field goal.
I have Colts winning. It's just I don't know how I can pick the Titans to win any games right now because they're just
sloppy.
Their offense has dive bombed, and even with Will Levis looking promising and having two like really good key players, is like your offense is still not great. But yeah, I'm going with Colts. Not super confident on that one. There's a lot of interesting games this week. So
I have the Falcons over the Jets, mostly because the Jets have a terrible offense, and also somebody's got to win that god awful division. Then I'm picking the Falcons to do that.
Falcons are 3-point favorites. I'm going with the Jets here. Falcons have like they have no clutch. They choke a lot. They choke games and they choke seasons. And I think this is kind of like I don't think they'll be able to ride on taking the lead. And with Aaron Rodgers set to have a chance to return, I think the Jets might actually take winning more seriously.
I thought he had a 21 day.
Yeah, he won't be back this week. I'm not. But like him returning in a couple weeks, he's only going to play though if they win. So they have to take winning seriously.
Oh, okay.
So like I think they take these games more seriously, and I think the Falcons are an absolutely winnable game. And I think it's one with again. I think people forget how good the Jets defense is. One that's
fair.
They can, I think they'll be able to win. But yeah.
Let's see here. And then I have the Lions beating the Saints.
I do too. Lions are a 4-point favorite.
4-point favorites. I think they'll turn things around against what happened in Green Bay, or against Green Bay. I think they'll turn it around, but yeah.
Unless the Saints decide to use Taysom Hill, I think
they're not gonna.
Regardless of how the Lions need to, they have to figure out their offense. Unless the Saints though use Taysom Hill, I think Lions will be fine regardless, even if it is messy. And then we got
Texans and Broncos.
Texans, Broncos.
Let me guess. Do you have the Broncos winning?
I do. Texans are 3.5 point favorites. It's one that's tough. I actually don't know who to pick in this game.
It was seeing how they've done recently. It was like, oh, I don't know if the Texans will win them against them, but I have the Texans winning by 3 points, but it's going to be a really close game. That Broncos defense has increased in production.
They've become one
offense.
of the better defenses in the league recently, and I'm like,
in recent memory, yes. So,
just been surprising, but
we'll see. I'm curious. I want that to be a good matchup.
I think it's going to come down to the end of the game, and both teams have done well at the end of the game. So it's going to be.
They're definitely second half teams. I've noticed.
It's going to be very, very interesting. Good watch, I bet.
Definitely.
Let's see. We got Chargers, Patriots.
Chargers are winning, but it's going to be a very sloppy game.
Yeah, maybe Chargers will actually win by one score. Probably not. I think Chargers actually. I actually think this one is.
Do you think it'll be more interesting than the Giants and Patriots?
Yes, because the Chargers actually have an offense. Chargers are 6 point favorites. I would almost bet that they would cover that.
I think they'll cover it. It's hard to tell.
So I have Chargers winning, and I think this is one where they look a little bit better. God, if they, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And then who do we have left for the noon games? Steelers, Cardinals.
Steelers and Cardinals. This is my upset.
You have Cardinals?
I have the Cardinals winning this one.
I can see that, and I'm hoping for it. Partially because I like Kyler and the Cardinals, and I hate the Steelers.
Wow, I wonder what gave that away.
Steelers just find a way to win, and they are 5.5 point favorites. I don't even think they win by 5.5.
No,
but I am taking.
If they do win, it's gonna be a close game. But I also think the Cardinals might pull off the upset because it's the Cardinals. I can't tell with that team sometimes.
Please, it is the one time I will root to be wrong.
Prove me wrong.
No, prove me wrong.
I mean, prove me right that the Cardinals will win, but
yeah.
I don't know if that will happen. Mostly because the Steelers have actually been released of Matt Canada. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And that's
I don't know.
Covers Sunday noon games, or early window games.
Early window games,
depending on where you are.
Commanders and Dolphins.
Oh right.
I have the Dolphins winning definitely by like more than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Commanders kind of just. They looked like they could have been a team to make the playoffs, to sneak in as a wild card earlier but
this year, they have definitely regressed. It's also been one of those years where it's like they're still trying to figure out their identity, mostly because of the whole ownership shift and the whole we're not sure if Rivera is going to stay for very long. But so we'll see.
They've shown a lot of promise, and
they have talent.
I'm excited for them in the future. Miami is a 9.5 point favorite.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you saw what they did to the Jets. So.
I mean, that's why I'm putting them at a win of more than 2 scores. Let's see here. Oh, I forgot I have another upset. Buccaneers and Panthers. I guess so I have winning that one.
Panthers.
Yeah, I have that as the upset. And I, like you were saying earlier, actually, a divisional game. That might be the divisional game where they win.
Yeah, I was also kind of hinting at it where I was like, if Todd Bowles loses this week, he might be gone.
Now I can see where you're saying that now.
And the Panthers it's a divisional game. Panthers new coach. I can see it.
Something's happening.
I can see it, especially I feel like in recent history, it's anytime a team is released of a bad coach, whoever the interim comes in.
Like they're just really good for just a couple weeks or so. I don't know. I'm hoping for an upset, even though it's not really an upset. They're both bad teams.
Oh, I would say it's an upset because I think Tampa Bay is still in a chance to win the division. Only down.
Sad.
That division is pretty bad.
That's why I'm hoping that Falcons win it, but I also don't know because they're the Falcons.
I don't know.
I can't trust anything anymore. Eagles and Niners. Eagles winning.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
I didn't make my prediction because I actually just changed my prediction for the Panthers-Buccaneers game just because of narrative. I'm also going with the Panthers now.
Okay.
I was originally going with the Buccaneers, but
Okay.
yeah, Eagles, 49ers.
I think the Eagles will win, especially since it's a home game where they have the home crowd advantage. Because I think in either situation, if either of those teams had a home game and they were playing that team, I think the home field advantage would make them win those games. You have the Niners winning, don't you?
I have the Niners winning. They've looked better.
Yes, they've looked better. That's true.
I think this is one of those games where it's gonna be it's a potential like NFC Championship preview and a rematch from last one, and I think it's like 49ers will get it. They'll kind of earn that like top seed respect, even though it'll still be the Eagles. And I think this might be I don't think Eagles only go in with one loss. I think they're gonna end up with two, and it's either this game or the Cowboys. And I think I would bet on this one being it.
I still don't understand how they lost to the Jets. Anyways,
I see this being it. I think you got that. I think it makes shifts 49ers momentum as favorites from the NFC. But then I feel like you're gonna come back and they're gonna play in the NFC Championship or whatever, and the Eagles are still gonna win. But or it could be flipped around the other way.
I don't know. Honestly, I can see it going either ways. I just have the Eagles winning because I dislike the Eagles a little. Well, not dislike them. I would prefer the Eagles win now, but then lose to the Cowboys, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just think 49ers look better right now. They are 3-point favorites, even on the road.
On the road? Wow. Okay.
It's just how they've looked recently.
This is at Philadelphia, though. I don't know if they win there. We'll see. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm curious.
When the 49ers are hot, I think they look like potentially the best team in the NFL. But
when they're on fire, yes.
Then we got Cleveland and
the Rams.
Who the Rams are actually 3.5-point favorites.
The Rams are 3.5-point favorites.
Rams are home, but
yes.
I've not heard anything about the QB situation for the Browns. So that's the one thing that is actually completely what mine is going to write off of. I don't know if you've heard who's going to start for the Browns.
I still think the Browns pull it off, though.
It looks like Flacco could be starter.
I forgot they picked up Flacco.
I think if it's not, I'm gonna go Rams.
I'm gonna go Browns.
If DTR is starting, I think the Browns have a better chance. I think without DTR, I think it's gonna be really tough for them.
Okay.
And I think the Rams have proven that they can win games. And this just seems like one of those where they could. But we'll see. I think
we'll quickly go through the next two, actually, because time.
Yeah. Kansas Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Packers. I think Packers win streak ends.
Yep. Chiefs are winning that one, especially on the hot streak that the Chiefs have been. Or not a hot streak. They just won against the Raiders, which is a good morale. Be like, yeah, we're going back.
They just got off their
losing streak, yes.
I don't think
they're going back into it.
I don't think they're going to return to form because I think the Chiefs Raiders game was the same score as the Chiefs Chargers game, I think. So I don't think it means anything much. I just don't think that the Packers,
they're not good enough to beat the Chiefs, I don't think.
Not yet. I think they're starting to show promise of going back to Jordan Love could actually show that he might.
I don't trust him still.
Yeah, but it's what happened with Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of his career. So it's hard to tell right now. I don't think this is a game for them to win, though, especially with that defense. So I have KC. They are actually 6-point favorites, which might actually be a little much. And then we have the Monday night game between the Jaguars and the Bengals.
I think the Jaguars will win this one. However, I'm not certain how close of a game this will be, mostly because Bengals like to keep it close for the most part, especially in recent memory. But I have no idea yet. We'll see. I'm curious.
Jaguars are 8-point favorites. I'm taking the Jaguars.
Yeah.
How close this game is going to come down to Trevor Lawrence and his turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he can have some pretty good, if he has good ball security in this game, it should be easy. Just because Bengals offense doesn't, and Jaguars defense is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Bengals have a good defense, but I think the Jaguars, just actually having a starting quarterback,
that might actually help him for once.
I think it just puts them in a situation to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have them winning.
Yeah.
But that caps off the Week 13 preview.
Mm-hmm.
And our Week 12 recap. Try and take it. So just talking a little bit of college football, just because it's conference championship week and coming up. A lot of big games, a lot of playoff implications. Well, let's stick to the big ones. Washington, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
I think whoever wins, I think at least
Goes to
deserves a playoff spot. I think Oregon, with how they've been playing, will win. Washington's been a little concerning.
Just a little bit.
I think there's a way where both of them could get in, but
it's very hard to predict that one though.
Yeah, I just since they last played, Oregon has looked better and Washington has looked worse. So it'll be an interesting game. I'm excited to watch that one. That one's on Friday. Ooh,
is it now?
It's a Friday game. And then we got
Interesting.
Big 12 championship between Texas, Oklahoma State. I would love to see Oklahoma State play spoiler for the last time against Texas.
We'll see.
Then
I hope they do. But
yeah, it would be super interesting. Georgia, Alabama. I need Georgia to win. I don't want Alabama in it.
Yeah, I think Georgia will win. They're the new Alabama, if that makes sense. But
yeah, it's been so difficult. Alabama shouldn't have won last week though. So
I don't know how they did.
Because
I know the pass. I've seen that, but that was just luck.
Auburn. Well, yeah, Auburn's just not good. I think if Auburn was, which is funny because it happened on the 10-year anniversary of the Kick Six.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And if Auburn was at least half that good, Auburn wins that game because they don't allow that play.
Mm-hmm.
But both teams have taken severe steps back. Alabama just still finding ways to win.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa, Michigan.
Michigan, please blow Iowa out of the water.
Harbaugh's back too.
Harbaugh's back too. So.
They beat Ohio State, which I'm like, yes. Oh, I was so happy watching that game.
Yeah, and then all the Ohio State fans were just crying on social media, just like, oh, they're just a bunch of cheaters and everything. I'm like, yeah, but also rivalries tend to shift tides. Now it's Michigan's turn to dominate for a few more years, I feel like, but I don't know if that will happen. It's see.
Also, I don't know if you saw this stat. I saw it while watching the game. The last time Michigan beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, they won the national championship.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That doesn't imply anything. However, if history likes to repeat itself, which it tends to does in a lot of sports, maybe. We'll see. I don't think they're that good. If Michigan plays Georgia, no.
Oh, I think Michigan's better than Georgia.
Do you think Michigan's better than Georgia?
Georgia's been iffy. Michigan, Georgia's had very iffy games this year.
Interesting.
Michigan has looked very complete.
I think Michigan is definitely number 2, but I don't think they're number 1. I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested. We'll see how these games go.
We do have also Florida State, Louisville.
Ooh, Florida State should beat Louisville.
They are.
Then again, Louisville has been like a wild card. I feel like this year they've been really good this year.
They have, and the one thing with Florida State is they're missing. Is it Jordan Travis?
Yeah. They're missing their quarterback. Yeah,
Or I don't remember what it is.
Jordan Travis.
With those slate of games, those all are the games with playoff implications. Who do you think wins and earns the top 4 spots? Who's your 1 through 4?
Oh boy.
Because remember, you also have who is it? Ohio State at 6. Actually,
Oregon's 5.
Oregon's 5. So it's.
I think the only thing that might change is that Georgia will definitely be in it. Michigan will also definitely be in it from 1 to 2. So 1 is Georgia, 2 is Michigan. 3 and 4 is going to be really hard to determine. If Washington wins, they'll stay where they are. If they lose, I think Oregon goes to 4, and then I think Florida State goes up to 3.
Well, yeah, this is kind of like the question is like, who do you think wins between Oregon, Washington, and Florida State, Louisville?
Where is this? Las Vegas? Okay. Honestly, I can sort of see Oregon win it,
All right.
but it's hard to tell right now. Yeah, especially with how you're saying that how Washington's been really sloppy lately.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't tell anymore. I don't. They're both good teams. I want them to win. However, I don't know which one I want to win over the other. But I don't know. Oh,
Gut reaction.
gut reaction. Washington keeps their place.
And then Florida State, Louisville.
I think Florida State will win that one.
All right, so you see it ending 1 through 4 just as is.
I think it is as is. If there is an upset, it will be Washington losing, and then Oregon will take the number 4 spot. And I think that's about it. I don't think anything changes.
I see 1 through. I see 1 and 2. Georgia, Michigan. I think Oregon wins.
Okay, that's fair. Honestly,
My
I don't blame you.
my iffy thing is Florida State, Louisville. If Florida State manages to lose this game, which I think is very possible, then it becomes.
That's.
I think Alabama obviously is out. I think Texas. I don't think Texas does enough to get in, and then it becomes, if Florida State loses,
Ohio
who do you
State's
put in
there.
Ohio State or Washington?
I would rather put in Washington, but then again, ESPN likes to put in Ohio State because ratings and everything.
Yeah, but we did see last year TCU lose the Big 12 championship and not move an
Yeah,
inch.
that's right. They didn't even move.
So I could see
Honestly,
Oregon winning this and jumping up to 3, and then
Washington
at
stays at 4.
which is I would
Honestly,
love
I
that.
wouldn't be upset with that.
I would love that. That'd be
Honestly?
so epic.
It makes it more interesting.
I hate Ohio State.
I don't want Ohio State back in. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode. We will try to make these as short as possible, but also we wanted to fill it as much content as possible as well. No bowl game for Nebraska, which sucks. I mean, I'm not surprised. I said our ceiling was 6-6 heading into this year. We got to 5-7, so I'm at least happy we got that at least. If only we had a quarterback and a consistent OC and a consistent O-line and a defense that would actually show up when it mattered sometimes. We wouldn't blow certain leads. We'd make field goals. I don't know, be a consistent football team for once. We're cursed. I don't know if it will be ever uplifted. I'm hoping Matt Rule can change it, but then again, I don't know. I have hope in Matt Rule compared to Frost. So that's my stance. All right. I'm done monologuing. All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right, cool.